Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. And welcome to another player performance review for the 2019-2020 season. We're going to be running the rule over individual performances, and our next player up for review is Maarten Stekelenburg. This one will be short and not very sweet, I guess, given that Steck has not played a single minute for Everton this season. He supposedly stayed on for an extra year to help push Jordan Pickford in training and, provide that kind of presence on the training pitch. Terry, I'll start with you on this one. It's safe to say that if that was the reason he stuck around, he hasn't had an adequate impact in that respect, has he?
No, I mean...
Because Pickford's tailed off, hasn't he? Let's be honest, it's not been a good season for him.
Pickford's been one of the worst keepers in the whole division and has been under no pressure. I think... I mean, you don't know what's going on. It's either damning of the other keepers we've got, Stekelenburg, and more so Jonas Lersel. He was brought in and can't get a game ahead of a keeper who's costing us goals on a regular basis and, pulling faces every time he makes a mistake and basically getting the fans to turn against him at this point. But Stekelenburg, it's like, there's a reason Pickford's never been dropped for him, because we know as soon as he comes in, it's going to be even worse, isn't he? Like the hologram, he's been nicknamed the hologram for a reason. And, good, professional, was good at a time, very much finished by the time he got to Everton. And I think we got his one last performance that was any good out of him, which was the Man City game where he saved the 2 penalties. We'll always have that. But
when I think about it, what is it with Manchester City games against Everton and bringing one good performance out of keepers? We had it with Jan Mucha as well, who was he barely played and then he comes in against City and was absolutely unbelievable. It was the one game he ever played for us.
I know. I mean, Stekelenburg, it's hard to dislike him. Really, he's been a good pro, and if we had a reliable, quality first choice keeper who wasn't making us all pull our hair out, Stekelenburg would be fine. Second choice keeper is one of those. There's a reason. It's one of those positions. There's a reason that he's going to Ajax, because second choice keepers are few and far between. Not many clubs have got quality. 2 quality goalkeepers. Look around the whole league, even the very best teams, their second choice keeper is usually a vast, step down from the first choice, because if they're any good, they don't want to be a second choice keeper. So Stekelenburg's been all right in that regard. I think if Pickford would have fell on his ankle or something in a warm up and he couldn't play, then I don't think Stekelenburg would have been quite as bad as some keepers who come in and are just disastrous. But I wouldn't have liked to have seen him for more than a one-off game. But anyway, he's second choice keeper. He's actually made a step up to Ajax in the Champions League, who win league titles. So he would be a second choice goalie, who doesn't play and just gets paid. And where's the training?
Ex-Everton players of Richard Wright is the one that springs to mind as an ex-Everton player. I mean, he's made a career out of winning leagues off not even getting on the bench half the time.
Yeah. If you could convince someone that you're a good second or third choice goalie, you could get on quite a few title-winning team photos, couldn't you, without ever actually contributing anything?
I mean, I always wondered about that Wayne Shaw, the fellow who ate the pie for Sutton United. I'm just thinking, there's making a career out of being a second choice keeper.
Yeah. I forgot about that. That was great.
Class that, wasn't it?
Yeah. Who was it for Chelsea in the Europa League final? Who was going mad with the trophy and he hadn't played a single minute? Was it
Robert Green?
Robert Green.
That's it. I wanted to say Roy Carroll, but I knew it wasn't him. It was just Robert Green. Quality that. He knew what he was doing as well.
Oh, it was
Robert Green actually said that he was one of the only players in the entire Chelsea squad to go up to Sarri and tell him, all the players hate your training and hate your tactics, and I'm not afraid to say it to you because I'm going at the end of the season.
I'm not getting a kick anyway.
And I wasn't getting in the team anyway, so I'll say it to you. I've got nothing to lose by telling you.
I didn't know that. It's a bit out of all. I feel sorry for Sarri, but
I thought Sarri got a rough ride at Chelsea. I thought he was okay.
Shows how much that Stekelenburg's done that we're actually talking about a former Chelsea manager on his segment.
Speaking of former Chelsea managers, who's that former Chelsea manager? Oh, Ancelotti, yeah. What's he doing now?
Just letting Maarten Stekelenburg go.
See, we found a way to get back out of that hole there. We've done well there. Speaking of digging ourselves out of a hole, what do we do with the goalkeeping situation? Because obviously Maarten Stekelenburg moving on to Ajax, as we say. We're going to need a new keeper, aren't we?
I want a goalkeeper because whether we bring him in to replace Pickford or whether we bring him in to challenge Pickford, I just want a goalkeeper who has played a lot of football in the last few years. I don't want some youngster who's not experienced, and I don't want some over-the-hill player who wasn't the first choice at the club he's leaving and doesn't play anymore. Because mentioning Stekelenburg, when we got him, this is an interesting stat because I looked this up when I found out we were going to be talking to him. He joined Everton in 2016, but I think the last time Stekelenburg played 30 games in a season was 2011.
When he left Ajax. That was
he
his
left
last
Ajax.
Season with Ajax.
Yeah, he was basically a number 2 at Monaco. I think he was number 1 for a while at Fulham, but he wasn't for a full season.
He went to Roma from Ajax. Started out at first choice, like dropped down. Then he went to Fulham, first choice, and dropped down. Yeah, and David Stockdale. And then he went to Monaco and Southampton. He started out number 1 at Southampton, but Forster took it back off him.
Well, he only got in the team initially at Southampton because Forster was injured for quite a while, from what I remember. So
that's right.
The point is, Stekelenburg hadn't been a number 1 keeper before he joined Everton for about 4 or 5 years. The days of him playing in World Cup finals were long gone. So when he came to Everton, let's just be honest, he came basically as Koeman's snitch. Every manager brings them in. They've all got the little favourites. Do you know what I mean? Their eyes and ears in the dressing room. And I don't knock them for that because every manager does it pretty much.
Carlo Ancelotti's like going to bring one of those in. He's got to bring some.
He's got to. Well, I don't want to be horrible to him, but I imagine it's a big thing of what his son does. His son's eyes and ears. They're bringing allies in. Do you know what I mean? They're bringing people who are very loyal to them, who are going to help them try and impose their personality on the squad and on the club. So Stekelenburg, he probably had no ambition when he came here. He probably didn't expect to play much, even though he ended up starting Koeman's first season as the number 1 because we didn't get anyone else, and it was a battle between him and Joel. And as you said, he starts off as number 1, and like the 3 or 4 clubs he was at before that, he didn't last the entire season number 1. He got dropped midway through and then didn't get back in again. So nothing against him personally, but he was well on the way down when he got to Everton, and I would have preferred to have seen him let go or relegated to a distinct number 3 at least 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, but that's the situations that we haven't really brought in adequate replacements. That's not a bash on Stekelenburg.
No, it's not.
It's the fact that we haven't brought in adequate goalkeepers to push Jordan Pickford, and I think that's shown in Jordan Pickford's performances this season that he feels he's untouchable, and it's gone to his head a little bit.
Yeah, basically. So going back to what I said, I want to see another goalkeeper come in, whether he's planning to be number 1 or 2, but just be a goalkeeper who has played a lot of football over the last few years, who is used to being number 1 and wants to be number 1 and isn't well past his best. Bring someone in who's hopefully somewhere in his mid to late 20s or maybe early 30s, but is still at the top of his game and still isn't willing to settle for just being a number 2 and playing the odd game in a cup.
We've been linked with Salvatore Sirigu, who's 33, but has had a very good season with Torino. Would you have him?
I don't know a lot about him, to be honest. I know the Italian goalkeepers, 33 to them is like 23, isn't it? They go on forever, the Italians. But
it screams Ancelotti, to be honest.
It does, but it would depend on what type of goalkeeper is he. Does he play with his feet? Does he just do the basics?
Well, if it makes you feel any better, he's 6'4" and has longer arms, so that's a good start,
isn't it? Yeah, that's something I do like the sound of. And if he has great hair as well, then yeah, why not?
He's Italian. I mean, I think they all have decent haircuts one way or another. Doesn't matter whether it's long, short, black, blonde, doesn't matter.
If you're
Look at Alessandro Pastoni, for instance.
Well, my favourite show is The Sopranos. So if you've got a name like that, I'm all for signing you because that's brilliant. What's his name? Salvatore
Sirigu.
Oh, I'm a big fan of that. But
Yeah, let's get him.
honestly, when it comes to answer the question that you'd asked Paul, and haven't asked me yet, but you probably would have. What would I do about bringing someone in? I want to replace Pickford. I want to replace Pickford, and if we haven't got the time or the money to do that this summer, which we probably haven't, go with Pickford and Lazel. Lazel's on a 3-year contract. We brought
start Lazel on no.
Yeah, I agreed with him when he said that. I don't know why he gets stick for that, but go with them too. See if Lazel can actually get his way in at this time if he needs to, and then next summer when COVID-19 is a lot further back in the rearview mirror, we hopefully don't need to buy as many new players as we do in other positions this summer.
And then we can announce Oblak.
Yeah, replace Pickford. I don't want to buy another number 2. I want to replace Pickford, and then if you need to sell Pickford after you do that or before you do that, which you probably do, it's right after an international tournament. So you're going to get more interest in him then than you are now because all he's done recently is make mistake after mistake after mistake. Let him go to the Euros.
Let him hopefully save another shootout or something and
get
a stock up.
That's if he's even starting at the Euros. It's a long way to go till then. He'll probably be on the plane, but whether he'll be between the sticks, I don't know. But I want to replace Pickford. I don't want to replace Stekelenburg. So I just go what we've got for now, unless there's like a no-brainer, like a 1 million, like Sal from Torino. If he comes up and he's dirt cheap or free, and then well, why not throw him in there, see what he does, see if we can move Lazel on. But if not, stick with it. And then get rid of Pickford next summer because I don't think we'll go anywhere with him in goal. But it's come too quickly to replace him this summer, I feel.
Yeah, well, obviously Stekelenburg is going, so we do need to replace a goalkeeper, regardless of which.
Not really. I think they'll have Pickford, Lazel, and Virginia. I think the reason they let Lazel go out on loan was so he could play some games while we still had Stekelenburg. But now they've even said as much, I think, via the Echo that Lazel's going to come back and compete with Pickford. Whether he gets in, I don't know, but it's going to be them two and Virginia, and then probably they'll replace one of the 3, ideally Pickford, next summer.
Which would be good.
Yeah.
Well, apparently Lazel went out on loan because before COVID he wanted to play for Denmark in the Euros, and he was basically told by the Danish manager, "You've got to be playing somewhere, or you're not going to be under consideration." So. It wasn't the club just wanting rid of him, I think, and just deciding, oh, yeah, we've seen him in training, we think he's useless, we'll just be looking at him back. I think it was more a concerted effort by him to say, look, I've got a tournament on the horizon, I need some games, can I go play there for a few months, and then when the tournament's finished in the summer, I'll come back next season.
But also, there's the small problem of a Kasper Schmeichel shape issue in the Danish team, and I can't see him starting anyway.
Yeah, definitely not. But he gives himself a better chance if he's playing. If Schmeichel picks up an injury and he's playing regularly, Lazel, then he goes straight in.
Very good point.
If Schmeichel picks up an injury and Lazel's not playing, but the number 3 is, then the number 3 might get in. I understood. We did similar with Holgate. We sent him out on loan because Jagielka was still here for a few more months the season before, and then when Jagielka came back, Holgate went into the team and took his role in the squad. Yeah,
it's a good way of going about it, and maybe it's a sign that we've actually got some elements of a clue, despite us, it's a decent model to follow, but
can't get it all wrong, can you? We've got to get a few things right.
It's got about time we got something right. But anyway, Maarten Stekelenburg moves on. We can't exactly grade his season out of 10 because he hasn't had a season, he hasn't played. But let's grade his Everton career because it's seen as he's on his way. Maarten Stekelenburg's Everton career out of 10, Terry?
4. Had one good game, but was a hologram every other time. But he had, and I didn't touch on this, but I want to get it in there, an outstanding Barnet. Goes a long way with me, that.
Well, that gets you an extra point on the scoreboard.
Yeah, he's a 3, but then he gets a 4 for a good Barnet.
Paul?
I'll give him a 3. I do remember him playing one half decent game other than the City one. It was probably, I think it was his first game. Like, it was a Tottenham at home in 2016.
Right, yeah. 16, yeah.
Yeah, I think he made a really great save near the end of the game when it was 1-1 and Spurs were pushing for a winner. It wasn't 1-1, it was 2-2.
1-1, it was 1-1.
When we played Delafeu up front.
Yeah, that game, yeah. It was his debut, his league debut. He made a really good save at the end that I remember. Because I remember coming out of the game thinking, maybe this fella can do a job for 6 months and we can get through the season with him, and Joel can go back to number 2, because I'd lost faith in Joel by that point. But as Terry said, I remember I've watched a good amount of games with him since then, especially ones in the cups, and he was just hopeless.
I think for me the low point of, Stekelenburg was bad in the Man United game that season, but for me the low point of Stekelenburg had to be the away game at Atalanta. That was god awful.
What that wasn't for me. It was probably Chelsea away when we lost 5-0, and he went down in installments for every goal. It went down in installments for every goal.
That's right, yeah. I think I must have tried to erase that one from my mind. So anyway, I was going to give Stekelenburg a 4. We'll leave it at that, because, he's barely played a full season's worth of games for us in 4 years, and no one's really that bothered. He's going, and I think he goes without any real fanfare, so we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, let us know what you think. Give us a comment about Stekelenburg if you can remember much about it apart from 2 penalty saves. And give us this video a like and a subscribe, and thank you for watching on the Toffee Blues.